Welcome to QNC Presents Conversations with Creators. In each episode, I dive deep into the minds of filmmakers from every corner of the industry. Whether it's horror, drama, sci-fi, or comedy, we'll explore the creative journeys behind these films, the challenges faced, and the passions that drive these storytellers. So join me as I go behind the scenes and discover what it takes to bring visions to life. Welcome back to Quills and Chills and my series Conversations with Creators. I'm your host, Rick Clifton, and today I'm absolutely thrilled to be joined by the talented Ali Walker. Now, you're going to recognize Ali from some iconic roles such as Profiler and my favorite, Sons of Anarchy. But today she is here to discuss her work behind the camera. Ali recently directed the powerful indie film Far More. It's a heartfelt story. It's about family, it's about loss, and it's also about self-discovery.
What was Uncle Sean like?
It was different.
Uncle Sean!
What you do reflects on our family.
Dad?
Sean. You never came back.
I never came back because you didn't want me to, Dad.
What exactly am I meant to do?
Devin, my family, my...
Sean, don't you think it's time to be the person you really are?
So we're going to dive into her experience transitioning from acting to directing, all the challenges of indie filmmaking, and what drew her to this project specifically. So welcome to the show, Ali.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I'm so glad we could connect and talk about this amazing film. My God.
That's so much you liked it. Thank you so much. I liked it too.
It is quite, like I said, it's quite the powerful story. I was wondering if you could just start by giving us a little bit of an overview about what the film itself is about.
It's about family. It's about coming home. It's about rediscovering the relationship between your family members and what's untrue. You know, one of the characters is dying, the brother. Sean McAllister, it's played by Adrien Grenier, is a famous fashion designer who lives in London. Never got along with his father, who couldn't really accept the fact that he was gay. He was very difficult. The older brother, Rick, was, you know, the all-American hero, was in Iraq, was just loved his brother. And now we find that Rick is dying and Sean comes home and deals with his young nephew, Eli, and his sister-in-law, Glenn, played by brilliant Selma Blair, and Joshua Rush. Daniel Yu Kelly is the father, is just plays Dick McAllister. He's amazing. Everybody was amazing.
I mean,
the cast was unreal, and they were all kind of cast against type. I really didn't think Adrien Grenier was right for the part. Then I went and met with him. I was like, oh my God, there's no one else who can play him. And the same thing happened with all of them. I was just like, oh dear, no one else played this part with them. So I was really, really lucky.
I mean, that cast was stellar though, and those performances. But God, we got to talk about Joshua Rush. I mean, that kid.
Yeah.
He,
you know,
really.
Josh is funny too, because Josh, I think, in the best three, but there was another kid who was older. And because it was such an indie film, we were shooting long days. And I was like, no, Josh is still kind of young. I think he was like 11 or 10. And I was like, I don't know if he can handle that. And we hired another person. And then we were sort of like, we all missed Josh. And so the first day, I was like, we got to get Josh. We got to get Josh. And he came back in and he breaks your heart. He just kills it. He just kills it.
In like every scene, I mean, he just delivers scene after scene after scene. It's just so powerful. It's so good.
Well, these are just naturally trained to the tail. I mean, these are just naturally very talented people. And I just found that if I stayed out of the way and if they needed tweaking, you know, I would be like just really easy. These are pros. So it's just a joy to be around. It really was. It was an honor to work with them. They were so good at what they did.
That's great. It's great. So I wanted to know a little bit about what inspired you to take on this story in particular. What drew you to it as a director?
Well, I wrote it. And I wrote it because I had lost a lot of people around me with cancer. I had lost my sister-in-law to cancer. I had lost my best friend, Rick, to pancreatic cancer. And I had just lost my father. Now he died of something else, but he had just died. And I had three sons, and my youngest kept saying, "Well, where do you think?" They called him Pa, like my father, Pa. And they kept saying, "Well, where do you think he went? Where do you think he went?" And I thought there was such sort of a unique, honest question because, it comes in, you start thinking about what you believe in, what kind of religion you followed, what happens when we die. And I just, Woody Allen's one of my favorite directors. Unfortunately, all the stuff that came out about him later kind of really, ruined a lot of that. But I just remember thinking he had done some things about, looking for meaning, out. What is it from? I can't remember which movie. Anyway, we'll talk about that. But this little boy goes on a search, a quest to find out what's happened to us when he died because his mother is so in pain over losing her husband. And his grandfather can't face the fact that he's losing him, so he tends to avoid him. And his uncle, he never has really not spent much time with, Adrian Grenier's character, because he doesn't get along with the father. So it was all these perspectives on how people handle death. And that's, Glenn is based on my mother. I was with my father as he was dying, and my mother would be pleading with me not to give him more because she couldn't talk to him yet. But she didn't realize that he was already passed. And it was all these things that I experienced in my own life. And I put it into a story. And it just kind of happened, it was just a really great experience. I'm a writer, so I really enjoy the writing. And I didn't know that I could do a narrative film, so I just did the best I could. But these actors made it kind of effortless in a way.
I was say it's great when you have a great cast. They just kind of like you said earlier, you just got out of the way and you let them do the work. And but I think it also has to be there in the writing. I think that's the groundwork, right? So
Yeah, I think. Well, I've always said it's material. It's the material. It's the material.
right.
It's not on the page. I mean, you can even take something that's on the page as an actor, and if it's there but just not fully formed, if there's just a sketch of it, you can do it because you'll add to it.
Right.
But if it ain't on the page, it's pretty painful. You know what I mean? It's pretty painful. So I'm glad, everybody loved the script, and I was really, really, really thrilled that they did. So that was good.
And I think one of the strongest aspects, I mean, there's so many great points in the story, but one of the things that really kind of stood out to me is how Selma Blair's character kept insisting that to keep him off the painkillers so that she could, have time with him before he passed. And I just found that very powerful.
As I said, that was based on my mother
Yeah.
during my father's death. And she would say that to me, and I'd say, "Go rest, Mom, go rest," so that I'm given the morphine with the hospice worker.
Right.
And but it's Selma's character, Glenn, has missed him so much because he'd been in the army and he was gone a lot and he was in danger. And she finally gets him back and he's dying. And it's, so she's struggling. She's struggling with her own needs and with, not wanting him to leave. And it's really about not wanting people to go, and she's blaming the poor Drea de Matteo's character of, drugging him for convenience. And, Drea says what they always say when you deal with cancer: we have to stay ahead of pain. And they tell you that. So it's, Selma is one of the most underrated gifts in acting we've had, I think, in years. She is really talented. I think all of these people actually are just so talented. It was astonishing to me how good. But Selma kind of blew me away. Just blew me away.
I would agree with that. I think she's phenomenal. So, and in the filmmaking, there's always a certain level of creative freedom that comes with not being associated, not having a lot of, let's say, overhead, for lack of a better way to describe that. But there's also the pressure. Exactly right. But there's also the pressure. You have to wear multiple hats, right? You have to do many things. And I'm wondering how you found yourself involved. How was it for you when you were working in areas like script development or casting, or even in post? I mean, what was that process like for you?
So script development was pretty easy. I wrote the script really quickly. It kind of came to me, and I just wrote it pretty quickly. I had, and kind of like, the universe kind of puts you in the right place at the right time in many instances in your life. And I was in New York as an actress, and I went to a meeting with a independent casting director named Sig de Miguel, who I think is one of the best independent casting directors around. And he fell in love with the script. And he said, Ellie, you just got to do it. You got to do it. You can't submit it. You can't wait around. You just got to go do it. And so I brought my friend who I had done. She had been a stage manager for a play I did, Nora Ephron's play in New York. She said, well, I know theater people, I can get money that way. And so people began looking for money, and I ponied up money, and we just got breaks, doing a really low budget film. And we got the money, and we just went and shot for 19 days and went crazy and just worked our asses off. But that's when it was amazing. But I've been on sets for like 35 years. So for me, it was second nature, in a weird way. You don't know what you can do till you do it. And I just was like, put the camera there, let's go. I had Fuddy Faisano as my DP. He's out of New York. Brilliant guy. Just a brilliant guy, this Italian. He knew exactly what to do, exactly how to do it. And he was great. We just worked really well together. So we were able, and the crew was amazing. I mean, I think they all love this story, and everybody just worked really hard. So it was a real labor of love, and we all, we had a good time. It was great.
I was going to ask about the DP because I thought that the cinematography was phenomenal. That's one of the things I always really take notice of in a film. And I
lost you. What'd you say?
I would say cinematography is something that I always tend to sort of take notice of in a film, and I thought it was absolutely phenomenal in this film. So
yeah, he was amazing. He's amazing. God, I really miss him. Actually, I want to follow him and see what he's doing. I know he was doing a lot with the films now, but other films. But yeah, a really talented group of people. I was really lucky.
So you brought this up, and it's a great segue for a question that I had. Having been on sets, as you said, for I think 35 years, and I've been on quite a few myself. I feel like you figure out like this shorthand of getting things done. But I'm kind of curious, were there any surprises or lessons that you learned being on this side of the camera versus the other side, or maybe it's vice versa, Allie? Like, was there something that you learned on the like being in front of the camera that you were able to translate from this side?
I could translate something as an actress, but I will tell you that I knew to let the actors do their work, and I knew how to I think by being an actress for so long and having done so much and working with these guys, there was a shorthand between us. You can kind of tell when somebody needs help. You can kind of tell how to speak with somebody, or some people you just speak story to. Some people, you go, maybe give me some more here, or you just wait it out until, they do what you're waiting for. And I think that really helped. I have a tremendous respect for actors. It's a very hard gig, and people I don't think know, how hard it is, because you don't see a lot of things that really stretch a lot of actors anymore. But acting's tough. And so I think creating the right environment for them to work in was what I think I did well at that. I also think I have such respect for, the filming, every department. These people know what they're doing. You just have to be able to kind of relinquish control in a way, and they just don't like, well, this works for me, this doesn't, or I like that, try this, and people, it's the collaborative spirit. It's the sense of community on small film sets that I love. I did a lot of like on Happy Texas. We all just were in love with each other, and we just worked our asses off to make that great. And I was just an actress. But there's this spirit of we're all doing our best to get this project. You see it from the grips to the gaffers to, everybody, craft service. Everybody's doing their very best to help that story be good. And that's what I miss in today's sort of world. I don't see a lot of that anymore. It's really interesting, with the corporatization of our business and the vertical integration that we've seen, there's been a little bit of a loss, as far as the craft of letting everybody do what they're good at,
Right, and then it just like you said, that collaboration too, I think that gets lost sometimes in the process. It's a great segue to my next question. I swear to God, you may have the list of questions in front of you. But, say that you've been a part of both big studio productions and also indie projects, and I'm just, curious if you could talk a little bit about what the differences are between larger productions, and I think you have. Maybe you've already answered this question just now, but what you find most rewarding about just being involved in indie films?
Well, I think they speak to me because I come out largely out of television profiler. I was going home and memorizing 11 to 15 pages a night, right? On Universal Soldier, I was doing 2 pages in like 3 weeks for me. You know what I mean? It's like 4 pages, maybe 2 pages a day. It's the big films. You have a lot of money and but those are amazing too. I mean, I was amazed at Universal Soldier. I was blown away by the precision and accuracy of the stunts they exploit, the way these things are plotted out, the way they can make things look. It's pretty amazing. It's really, really amazing. And it does wow you. Um, Indie films, though, to me, was more like doing a series because you have to be there right when they need you. You don't have a lot of time because you're doing a shoot for, $500,000. They don't have days to get these shots. They're moving very quickly. So you have to be there and on it, and everybody's pulling for you because they know the restrictions of the entire thing. So it really is that kind of camaraderie that you don't really get in big films. Big films, you're more like, we're going to come get you when we need you. You know what to do. You know your part. You do your part. I mean, you get along with your fellow actors always, or not. But indies, you're like a family kind of going like, let's make this something really good together. Let's do this because we can do this. And it's, you're not making any money. So you're doing it for the love of doing it, which, changes everything.
For the love of the craft. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about distribution. If you could talk a little bit about what the distribution process was for Far More, and everybody's favorite subject, right?
I mean, that is the hardest. And I think that's the hardest. It's like you get with these distributors because you're kind of at their mercy, depending on what the critics do to you. And, they really do take all the money. And I hate to say that. I was lucky enough. I had a really good foreign distribution company, and I made some money off that. But my North American, I didn't really see anything. I saw money, but it was much less than I thought I would. And then when those terms were up, I resold the foreign rights and I resold the American rights. So it's up on Amazon. It's done well, but it's not like it used to be. There's no more Miramaxes. I mean, they'll make them, but they don't, it's just not the same. You just go to Netflix. You're on Netflix and you're there which is great. I think it's great because I did not appreciate the treatment of independent films in distribution in the last 15 years. It just became very harsh,
And
but I guess it was always that way. I don't know. I just thought, there was no, I know that when we sold Happy Texas in like 99 or 2000 or whatever that was, it was the highest selling independent film. It was sold for like 8 million to Miramax. And all this got back in. We all got back in because we worked for, a nipple on the set. And I don't think you can do that anymore. I just don't think it's like, it's sort of like the economy since Ronald Reagan. It's all gone to the upper echelon, and there's this big divide. There's no more middle class. I was always a middle class actress. I could be in big films, be the star of big films, have my own series, and then go do a small part on Broadway, or go do, be, the 15th lead in Sons of Anarchy, but have a great role. I mean, I don't know if careers and I made a good living and I did well. I don't know if that exists anymore.
You're not the first person I've heard that from either, Allie. I recently spoke with Jennifer Esposito about her latest film, Fresh Kills, and she has some very definite thoughts, very similar to yours, on distribution and just how difficult and challenging it is to get an indie film out into the world these days. So And
Yeah, there's really no good distribution. And I went to sell these guys in France who loved me and were helping the film, and they went, "Oh, Jared, you've been pirated in China." That just wiped out a whole market view. And it just come out. I
Mm.
mean, just. And so you're just up against things, you know, the internet has really kind of ravaged business in a way. It's helped it in a way, but it's also kind of destroyed it in a way. And it's an interesting thing to navigate now. And it's not particularly lucrative or fun unless you just have to smash it. You know what I mean?
exactly.
So it's tough. It's very tough.
So, looking ahead, do you have any plans to continue directing? And if so, what kind of stories or movies are you looking to write or direct or produce?
Well, I got a couple of things written, and I was trying to go the usual route, sell them. But I think what I'd like to do is just make more indie films, and I can do it. I have, I just go to private equity and try to find people who want to make money, and then or go to Netflix or something like everybody else. And yeah, I'm actually considering. I have another script that's about people again, and loosely based on things that I've seen in my life or been through in my life. So I'm thinking of shooting that next fall in New Mexico, where I'm from. So yeah, I have. I did a documentary count in 2005.
I think I lost you.
Sorry.
Sorry, Allie. I think
It's on
I
the
lost you.
internet.
Sorry, I think you dropped out for a second there about the documentary, and then we went dark.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a bad area over here. I apologize. I did a documentary that came out in 2005, and it was about the foster care system in Los Angeles, and basically looking at it as a microcosm for the whole country and what a horrible, horrible, situation a lot of these systems or the whole thing is in.
I saw
That was very rewarding. Yeah, it changed laws. It actually changed some laws here in LA, and they, changed a few things, which is great. Well, not laws, but it changed policies. They implemented things. I think they were worried about this crazy lady with, a camera running around. I don't
Who is the man that
I
you were?
would like to do a documentary again. I find that it's very rewarding, but I do have to stamp it, and I would like to shoot it next year, and that's probably what I'm going to do. But I like to say things and do things, me things. I've recently taken up painting. I wrote a kid's book. I'm just, I'm doing things that speak to me in the moment. And doing Farmore was a labor of love, and it took a long time. And I'm still pushing it, and I'm still, finding people who like it. I'm really so flattered that you like that you took the time.
I loved it. I've seen it twice. It's just so great, and I'll scream it from the mountaintops. So it's a great film.
So much.
So.
You're so sweet. I appreciate it.
So the film is called Farmore, and it's available now on Tubi, Amazon Prime. Are there any other streamers I'm missing that you want to throw out there? I think there's a whole list of them.
On Apple TV and oh God, hang on.
Google Play, probably.
I don't know. I think it is on Apple. I think it's on Amazon Prime.
You know what I'll do, Ellie, is I'll get the list and I'll just put them in the show notes and I'll have them there. So it's all good.
Oh, awesome! Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm like
All good.
still back on all these platforms. Voodoo. I think it's on Voodoo.
Voodoo. Yeah, they're new. There are a lot of new ones that I'm not. I know there's Tubi, there's Voodoo, there's Freevee, I think it is, which I think is part of Amazon. So, but I'll get the official list and I'll make sure they're all put together. So first of all, thank you so much for talking to me about this amazing film. I appreciate your time. I know you're very busy and lots going on. We've been trying to coordinate this for a minute now, so I certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for taking an interest in, promoting independent thinkers and creatives. So I think that's great. We need more of that.
I could not agree more. So, Allie, how can our audience find you on social?
You can go to Twitter and Instagram. I'm Allie Walker 1. I think I'm on TikTok as Allie Walker 1. And there's what's the new? Threads, I believe.
Threads, yeah. Part of Instagram. Yep. Great. I'll get all those listed in the show notes as well. So,
Okay, awesome.
well, I appreciate your time. I'm going to let you get on with your busy day and have a wonderful weekend. And for the rest of you, we'll see you guys next time on Quills and Chills, Conversations with the Creators.